Georgetown softball is live from our nation's capital. After 10 long months away from Washington National's Youth Academy, Georgetown Hoya softball is back here in the southeast corner of Washington, D.C. Today they take on one of the hottest teams in the region, the Harvard Crimson, winners of each of the last four. We welcome you to Anacostia. Southeastern Washington, D.C. is the site for this one. My name is Ben Curtis. Glad to be with you here on the Georgetown Athletics YouTube channel. Hoya's losers of 8 consecutive games after an 8-3 start to the campaign. Harvard 9-4 on the season. As I said, they are rolling right now, winners of each of the last four. Harvard coming off of a 5-4 win against St. Mary's, where they just held off the Gales, who made a furious late comeback. 3 runs in the 5th inning to get within 1, but Harvard did enough to close it out for their 4th consecutive victory. Georgetown coming off of their 6th conference game of the season. Georgetown 0-6 in Big East play, were run ruled by St. John's 12-2 off the back of an 11-run first inning from the Red Storm. But reset the scoreboard and get back to work on this Tuesday afternoon. We're a couple minutes ahead of schedule, but Kayla Dunn rocks and fires the first pitch. Park is right there, and 1 pitch. There is 1 out. Audrey Cizzoli, Savannah Fitzpatrick, Sophie Sun, the top third of the order for Harvard. Maya Douglas, Quinn Salazar-Stewart, Priyanka Call, the middle third of the order for the Crimson. Finley Payne, Alexa Muller, and Lael Ayala round out the starting 9 for Harvard today. Kayla Dunn is back in the circle for Georgetown. Last year's Hoya leader in innings pitched. Rocked one, did Fitzpatrick right at Strittmatter. And there's 2 gone. Good defense from the Georgetown third baseman. And despite the fact that Fitzpatrick absolutely hit that one on the button, Strittmatter, who was playing well in front of the bag, reacted very quickly. And there's 2 away. And now Georgetown gets the chance to do what they hope to do a lot today, and that's face Sophie Sun with the bases empty, because she is not only one of the most dangerous hitters in the Ivy League, but in the entire country. 522 batting average in a sample size that's not all that small anymore. 13 games for Sun. She's got 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. The sophomore from Austin, Texas, last year was the first athlete in the history of the Ivy League to win Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the same year. Unsurprisingly, she was unanimous first team all-conference in what was just a monster year for Sun. In just her first year of college softball, hit .421. That led the Ivy League. Also led the Ivy League in OPS, 1271. First in the conference in doubles with 14. First in the conference in RBIs with 44. And she led all freshmen in the nation with a slugging percentage of .797. Not only one of the Ivy League's top threats offensively, but one of the best hitters this side of the Mississippi and this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Georgetown going to want to face her as much as possible with nobody on. And Georgetown faces her and strikes her out. It is just the first time all season long that Sophie Sun has struck out in now 47 at-bats. Great start for Kayla Dunn. We head to the bottom half of the first inning. It's the Crimson nothing, and the Hoyas coming to bat when we return to D.C. Getting set for the bottom half of the first inning here in D.C. Hoya's coming to bat for the first time at home here in 2025. A lot of time away from home. Hoyas were supposed to have a home game last week. Some pretty bad weather around D.C. wiped away that one. So Hoya's finally back here at the Washington Nationals Youth Academy, and Claire Turner, who was second team All-Big East last year, will climb into the righty batter's box. 305 average on the season. Good start for Turner. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs on the campaign, and a first pitch strike from Riley Flynn, the junior from Phoenix, Arizona, with a 2.08 ERA. She has struggled a little bit with command. 1 more walk than strikeouts this year. 28 free passes, 27 strikeouts, and just over 30 innings of work. 0-1 to Turner, way upstairs and outside, and it's 1-1. Pretty good outing last time, though, for Flynn against Weber State on Saturday in a neutral site game. 5 innings, 1 earned run. Allowed 4 hits, walked 2 batters, and struck out 7 in a win against Weber State this past weekend. 1-1 to Turner. Launched in the air out towards left field. Sazzoli's not going to get there. That's a foul ball in the corner. And Hoya is disappointed to see Turner have to return back towards the righty batter's box. Rest of the defense for the Crimson today. You just met Sazzoli out there in left field. Audrey Sazzoli, the Crimson's leadoff hitter. Fitzpatrick in center field. Ayala's in right. Call and Muller the left side of the infield. Payne and Douglas the right side. And Quinn Salazar-Stewart is back behind the plate to catch Flynn. Off balance was Turner on an off-speed pitch. The excellent hustle down the line, though, and Turner beats out the infield hit. Muller didn't get it out of her glove quickly enough, and Turner, who is very fleet of foot with those 6 stolen bases already this year, beating out the infield hit, and the Hoyas have the first base runner of the day. Didn't hit it all that hard. She was out in front of a changeup and kind of rolled over on it, but it took a while for the play to develop and the ball to even get to Muller's glove, and that she couldn't get it out quickly enough. And the Hoyas have the first base runner of the day. Gabby Park squares to bunt. That's a really solid bunt. Only plays at first, and it is made by Call. But Gabby Park does her job, moving Claire Turner into scoring position for Georgetown's most dangerous hitter, Naya Campos. Dayanara Campos, the designated hitter, batting third as per usual for the Hoyas, the junior from Tucson, Arizona. So this is a matchup of a couple of kids who are the same class coming out of Arizona, Phoenix versus Tucson. And the first pitch goes upstairs to the Tucson native Campos. Hit .312 last year. Her 42 RBIs were good for 4th in the Big East, and a .728 slugging percentage paced the conference. 1-0 offering is inside. That clipped her. And the Hoyas have a pair of runners on, with still only 1 away, and the ball hasn't left the infield in fair territory. The infield hit, a bunt, and then a hit by pitch. And there will be a meeting at the mound as Flynn is going to try to settle things down. Emily Stripmatter will be next to bat for Georgetown. .321 average on the season. She's had an excellent start to the year power-wise, especially 5 long balls for Stripmatter in her sophomore campaign. 12 RBIs as well. Slugging percentage just a tick under 700. It's at .698. You love to have the OPS, that's slugging percentage and on-base percentage, above 800. That really puts you above average. Stripmatter is well past that. She's at around 1145 or so. And has opportunity for the Hoyas to strike first here. First pitch is on the outside edge, though. Excellent location from Flynn, who has hit her 3rd batter of the season so far in 30 and now 2/3 innings. He's been trying to work that outside part of the plate to righties, that inside part of the plate to lefties, including the lefty Campos, who she ran too far in on and hit. That glove side has definitely been where Flynn has been missing so far, and even where she's found a couple of strikes on that outside corner to righty hitters. Goes inside to the righty, this time right underneath the hands of Stripmatter. That's a great comeback pitch in that spot to make it 1-2. Just talking about how much Flynn was attacking the outside corner, and as a hitter, your eyes can kind of drift over the plate to that outside part. And then Flynn comes right back and puts it right underneath your hands. The 1-2 swung on and missed. An important strikeout for Flynn, who was just 1 off of her season high with those 7 that she had against Weber State over the weekend. And there are now 2 away. 8 strikeouts This past Friday for Weber is a season high. That came against Portland State in what was a 8-1 win. And now here is Abby Kozo. Time is called first. Crimson trying to get out of this first inning unscathed. But Kozo, the sophomore from Metuchen, New Jersey, will take a first pitch on the outside edge, and it's 0-1. So after Flynn was all glove side in the first part of this inning, now going arm side is the righty. Tons of talent coming out of high school. The 2023 Ivy League Rookie of the Year. Went to that same part of the plate but missed it, and it's 1-1. Out of Xavier College Prep, big-time athletic department down in the Phoenix area. Extra innings, first-team All-American coming out of high school. And that one's on the outside edge, and it's 1-2. Max Prep's had her on the second team twice. And, of course, not only a really solid softball program at Harvard, but the academics and everything else that comes with getting to both play and go to school at Harvard brought her to Cambridge. Kozo flares one to the third base side, foul, and he'll get out of play. Couple of relatively young coaches, or at the very least new to their team. Jenny Rorn, the former assistant coach at Harvard, was head coach at her alma mater of Western Michigan and at Covenant College at the Division III level, now into her second season with this Harvard Crimson team. And has this Crimson team rolling early on with the 4 consecutive victories. Carla Ross in her first year at the helm of the Hoyas, after 4 years leading the way from Maryland Eastern Shore. Just off the plate, and it's 2-2. Ross is also an assistant coach at DePaul, so she's got the Big East experience. Hoyas 0-6 in Big East play so far. Picked to finish last of the 9 teams in the conference. When Sales upstairs and the count's full, that'll start both of the runners. Turner from second and Campos from first. Turner with that tremendous speed's going to score on anything that gets down in the outfield. Campos, the trail runner, could go first to third on a base hit. The 3-2, fouled back to the screen, will do it once more. Harvard picked to finish second in the Ivy League preseason poll. Crimson came a game away from the NCAA tournament. Fell to Princeton in the Ivy League final, and the Tigers again picked to win the Ivy League. As per usual, you see the defending champions picked to win the very next year unless there's a lot of action in the portal. Up in the air, third base side. This one will stay fair from Muller, who makes the catch and ends the inning. A infield hit and a hit by pitch, but the Hoyas can't do anything with it. We've played 1 inning in our nation's capital, and we are scoreless between the Hoyas and the Crimson. Top 2, and we are still looking for the game's first run. Ben Curtis here with you from our nation's capital. Harvard and Georgetown doing battle in the Hoyas home opener. Middle third of the order coming up for the Crimson after Kayla Dunn was phenomenal going through a really tough top third of the order, including striking out defending Ivy League Player of the Year Sophie Sun for the first time all season. Here's Maya Douglas, no slouch herself at the plate, .297 average. Hits one out towards Strittmatter, who's been busy early on. She gets her second put out of the day, and there's one gone. Strittmatter had that tremendous catch on a ball hit with plenty of velocity right at her off the bat of Savannah Fitzpatrick. She was able to make that play. She was able to make this one too, and just like that, Kayla Dunn is settling into a groove. Quinn Salazar-Stewart, catcher, will be next up for the Crimson. Had a 4-game on-base streak broken last game. Still had a sacrifice for an RBI in that win against St. Mary's. So 5 straight games with at the very least a really productive at-bat for the freshman out of Chandler, Arizona. Pitcher-catcher combination today for Crimson is a Arizona combo. Salazar-Stewart, another player who's really tough to strike out. This Crimson team puts the ball in play a lot. A catcher who is just a freshman has just struck out twice in 43 at-bats, including one against Weber State this past weekend. Just once her first 37 at-bats. This one deflects off the glove of Kozo, fair territory, and it will be an infield hit for Salazar-Stewart. Hit that ball on the button the other way, and it deflected right off of Kozo's glove. It should be ruled a hit, I would imagine, and it will be. So first base runner of the day for Harvard. And Priyanka Kaul will climb into the box next. One of 3 seniors in this starting 9 for Harvard, along with Fitzpatrick and Douglas. And the first offering to her is a little bit inside, and it's 1-0. Kaul hitting .351 this year, 13 RBIs, leads the team so far. Really strong start to her final year with the Crimson. Plainsboro, New Jersey native. That one goes a little bit on the outside edge. A little bit of a late call from our home plate umpire, but a strike call nonetheless. Will Yao is calling balls and strikes today. Lloyd Ingerson is our first base umpire. Kirk Ron Kinslow is on the third base side. Out towards the shortstop, that's Fenton. Goes to second base for one, on to first base in time, a double play. Great turn by Brooke Rebon at second base, and Georgetown rolls a 6-4-3 to get out of the inning. Kayla Dunn has still faced the minimum through just 2 innings of work as the Hoyas turn 2 against Kaul and get out of the frame. Back to the bats go the Hoyas when we come back, still without a run scored. Bottom half of the second inning, the defense for the Hoyas has been sparkling so far in this one in their home opener. And now looking to get the offense back to work. Hoyas put 2 runners on with 1 out, but then a strikeout, a strip matter, and a pop out from Kozo ended the threat, and Flynn was out of the jam. 6-7-8 due up for Georgetown, starting out with a player who initiated that double play to end the top half of the second, Sammy Fenton. First pitch is on the outside edge for a strike. It's 0-1. Fenton has seen this Harvard Crimson team a ton. The transfer from Penn, where she spent 4 years playing in the Ivy League for the Quakers. Started all 40 games last year for Penn. Played the last 111 games in her Penn career. She was one of the first names on the Penn lineup pretty much every single game over the past 3 years in Philadelphia. Second on the team in average last year, hitting .310. This year she's hitting .326 in the early going. Good eye to take that one upstairs. It's 2-1. 10 RBIs on the season, on base percentage right at .400. Puts the ball in play a lot as well. Just 3 strikeouts for Fenton in 43 at-bats. That's the fewest of anyone in the starting 9 today for Georgetown, but Flynn has 2 strikes on her here. Danny Koo and Holly Pardini also due up here in the bottom half of the second. as the 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. So that's two different batters now in this game that we've talked about how little they have struck out, only for them to immediately go down on strikes. That's how it goes sometimes, I guess, with the commentator's curse. But Koo will come up to the plate next. Freshman out of Menlo Park, California. Hit the ground running for Georgetown with a 4-game hitting streak to start her collegiate career. That's a really good spot from Flynn, who's working both sides of the plate now a lot better than she did in that first inning, especially early on in the first frame. That glove side was where she was going almost exclusively, but has really picked up the location on the other side of the plate. And now she's way ahead of Koo, 0-2. Former league high school player of the year was Danny Koo at Menlo Atherton High School in Southern California. Two-time first team All-League as well, both her junior and senior year. Not a bad spot for 0-2. It was a little bit upstairs against the freshman left fielder. And Flynn looking for already her third strikeout of the day. And she got it. First strikeout looking of the 3 for Riley Flynn, and following up 15 strikeouts in her last 2 outings. She's picking right back up where she left off. She's got 3 through her first 5 outs, and a chance for a 1-2-3 get-back inning for Flynn after there was plenty of traffic on the base paths back in the first. It'll be up to the catcher, Pardini, to keep it moving for Georgetown. Goes after the first pitch, hits it to left, so Losi will watch it go out of play. And it's 0-1. There is some wind to speak of today. It is blowing in from left field. So anything that looks pretty good off the bat, of especially those righty hitters, might hang up a little bit more to the benefit of the pitchers and the defense more than the hitters. Only hit just the glove of the catcher, Salazar Stewart, not Pardini. And so it's 1-1. Pardini this year with a 186 average, 1 home run, 7 RBIs. Would love to get the bat going, but the defense has more than picked up for it. At the catcher position, hits that one down the third base side. That's a fair ball. Couldn't have placed that any better if Holly Pardini caught the pitch and rolled it down the line. That just tiptoed that foul line to the third base side. Call was playing well off of the line. And it's a 2-out knock for Pardini. That will, if nothing else, send the number 9 hitter to the plate, and even if Brooke Rebhan can't keep this inning alive, then the Hoyas will start out the third with the top of the order. Rebhan already with a really good defensive play to end the top half of the second. Quick turn to force the double play. Ball was out of her glove almost as quickly as it was coming in. Fouls the first pitch back to the screen and up and over. And it's 0-1 towards what is a pretty good crowd here for a Tuesday afternoon. The Washington Nationals Youth Academy. Plenty of Hoya blue and gray, a smattering of Harvard crimson as well. Harvard will be back in action tomorrow across town to take on GW, so why not make it a whole week-long DC trip if you're a Harvard fan. 1-1. Off of the fists of Rebhan, and it's 1-2. It's going to be a tough game for the Crimson as well. Revolutionaries, a team that are really finding their form as well under Chrissy Schoonmaker. They've won 7 games in a row. So if Harvard wins this one, then it'll be a matchup of a team that's won 5 straight versus a team that's won 7 straight. But the Hoyas trying to snap a losing streak of their own, get back in the win column, go 1-0 at home before getting back into Big East play. 2-2 from Riley Flynn. Just off the outside edge. She's gotten that kind of pitch to be called a strike a handful of times today, including that strikeout of Koo. Went to that outside corner. Instead, the count is full. That'll release Pardini from first on the pitch. And the 3-2 offering. Back to the screen. We'll do it once more. 2 hits already for the Hoyas. Just 1 so far for Harvard. Pardini's the first hit for either team that left the infield. Flynn and Dunn have both been pretty good in the circle. The 3-2 out towards shallow right field. Diving and not getting there is Payne. On her way to third base is Pardini. She's up with a stand-up second to third. And Rebhan strolls over to first base with another 2-out knock. Just like that, Hoyas have runners at the corners with 2 away for Claire Turner. 2-out rally for Georgetown after they couldn't get the runners home in the first inning with 2 outs, and now we'll have a mound visit. Everyone going to come together, or rather a circle visit, I should say. Everyone will come together and chat in the infield. Micah Sutherland is the pitching coach for Harvard. Second season with the Crimson under Jenny Roan's staff. She herself was a pitcher not too long ago, the 2023 Big West Conference Pitcher of the Year at Cal State Fullerton, which was her second collegiate stop. She also pitched at the University of the Pacific. Played professional softball in the Italian Championship before returning stateside to join Jenny Roan's staff here at Harvard. And this circle visit could be just what Flynn needs to kind of reset things, because she has allowed back-to-back hits. And now Claire Turner, who already had that infield hit back in the first inning to the shortstop Muller, with an RBI opportunity here in the bottom of the second. First pitch is just below the knees. It's 1-0. 11 RBIs this year for Turner. That OPS is over 900, but the speed is really what has propelled Turner to be one of the better outfielders in the conference the past couple of years. That one's on the inside edge. It's 1-1. Nearly brushed Turner off the plate. Still got the strike call. Park on deck, and then you really want to make sure you get out of this inning before Campos comes to the plate if you are the Harvard Crimson. 1-1 out towards right center field. Ayala's got a beat on it. She tracks it down to end the inning. 2 more base runners for Georgetown. They can't bring either of them home either. Hoyas have left 4 on in the first 2 innings and were scoreless in D.C. Bottom third of the order due up for Harvard. Kayla Dunn so far through 2 innings has faced the minimum, given up just 1 hit, has 1 strikeout, and looks to be pretty comfortable in the circle right now as Finley Payne will be the latest to try to solve the Georgetown righty. Payne 276 average, 1 home run, 4 RBIs for today's second baseman, the junior out of Liberty Township, Ohio, just outside Cincinnati. Goes after the first pitch, spoils it foul to the third base side. 279 a season to go for Payne. Had 17 RBIs and an OPS of 760, but she's really starting to swing the bat better as of late. 6-game on-base streak dating back to the end of February. Dunn froze her, though, with that changeup. That is a really good difference of velocity from the fastball, the first pitch, to the changeup, the second pitch. And after Payne was late on the fastball to hit it foul to the third base side, was frozen on that off speed. And now Dunn can go anywhere she wants here. 0-2, goes right back up the middle, though. Payne with a good piece of 2-strike hitting. And extend that on-base streak to 7 games. I think that one caught a little bit more of the plate than Dunn would have wanted. Taps her chest to say, my bad, as if to say I was way ahead 0-2, and just left that one a little bit more center cut than she would have wanted. So Alexa Muller, the shortstop, will bat next. Small sample size for Muller, just 3 for 7 at the plate so far this year. goes after the first pitch as well, hits it foul. That's clearly part of the scouting report on Kayla Dunn is first pitch fastballs, first pitch strikes. Crimson have been really going after her early on in the at-bat. Solosi led off the game, going after the first pitch, flying out. Fitzpatrick went after the first pitch, second batter of the game. That one gets away briefly from Pardini, though. Great dirt ball read from Payne. And she's out at second base, and the Crimson have their first runner in scoring position. Payne had a nice jump with the pitch, getting 2 or 3 steps away from first, and then a tremendous read to see that ball dipping and getting away from Pardini to get to second base. Nice play by Fenton at shortstop. They throw back over to second base. She got back in time, did Payne. Nice leaping catch, though, by Sammy Fenton over at shortstop. That might have saved a run with the way that Payne can run. And it'll bring the number 9 hitter Ayala to the plate. 3 runs driven in this season for Ayala, making her 9th start of 2025. Game number 14 on the season for Harvard, who is 9-3. Another first pitch strike from Dunn. If you go back through the first 9 batters that Dunn's faced, you'll find a lot of first pitch strikes. Ayala swings at this one, hits it into shallow left field. Coming in is Koo to make the catch. Oh, the defense for Georgetown has been excellent today. Especially that left side. The leaping play from Fenton, the catch on the hot shot to third from Strittmatter. And now Koo comes in to make a sliding play. And there's 2 gone here for the top of the order, Solosi. Hit the fly ball to right field to open up the game. Squares to bunt, drops down a really good one. There's not going to be a play anywhere. Solosi, who runs very well with 5 stolen bases this season, puts runners at the corners, and Audrey Solosi is going to pick up another hit, number 14 of the season, and just 1 have been for extra bases. She is as good of getting herself on base as a singles hitter as anyone in the Ivy League. Now here's Fitzpatrick. First pitch upstairs, it's 1-0. Hit the ball, as we said, really square to Strittmatter, who reacted lightning quick to make the catch back in the first inning, but now has Payne over at third, Solosi over at first. They throw out towards second base. Here comes the runner, Payne, and out at home. Hoyas baited Payne into coming home from third. Rebhan came off to cut off the throw and delivered a strike back to Pardini. And Georgetown's defense holds Crimson without a run after Harvard looked to threaten for the first time today. We are through 2.5 innings. Hoyas back to work when we come back. Back to work for the Georgetown offense after the defense kept them scoreless in the top half of the third. It's a Hoya defense that has committed so far 18 errors in the first 19 games. A little bit less than 1 per contest. They didn't have any against St. John's in that run rule loss over the weekend. The first pitch to Gabby Park is upstairs and it's 1-0. But it's been a really good job of getting the defense a little bit more where the Hoyas want them to be in the first year of Carlo Ross's tenure with this Hoya program. That one's just off the plate as well, and it's 2-0 to Park. Georgetown really struggled in that department last year, but this year a new leaf has been turned over, and a couple of real sparkling plays in the field for Georgetown to make sure that Harvard didn't score in that top half of the third. And a really smart play drawn up by Georgetown with the runners at the first and third. Solasi went from first, and Pardini threw down to second, but Rebhan, who had already knew what she was going to do, raced in, cut off the ball before it got anywhere near second base, and threw it right back to Pardini, who applied a good tag. 3-1 to Park is right down the chute, and the count is full. So now this Hoya offense, who has had their chances in the first 2 innings, will look to grab the lead for the Hoyas. Four runners left on base the first 2 innings, and Park will be another base runner for Georgetown, pulling it through the right side. And after the successful bunt back in the first inning, Park with another quality at-bat. And for the second time in the 3 frames today, Hoyas have put the leadoff runner on, and now a chance for Campos to come to the plate with a runner on base. And all 3 of the outfielders, Solasi, Fitzpatrick, and Ayala, will take a couple of steps further back. And Campos hits one deep into the outfield, right center field. Fitzpatrick makes the catch, and there's one away. Maybe 2 steps in front of the warning track. Really good angle taken by Fitzpatrick. You know, those Harvard players are going to have their angles down. Geometry not a problem for anyone on the Crimson outfield. And so Strittmatter will come up to the plate next. Struck out with the 2 runners on back in the first inning. Goes after the first pitch, hits it hard to the third base side, but foul, and it's 0-1. So Flynn has bent but not broken defensively here for the Crimson. Had runners at first and second base with 1 out back in the first inning. There were runners at the corners with 2 outs in the second. Crimson still yet to concede a run. 0-1 to Strittmatter. That's an excellent spot from Flynn, and she's way ahead here. The Hoya third baseman, 0-2. Good pitchers duel developing here on a sunny, getting to be warm day in D.C. 0-2 just off the outside edge. Temperature started off when these 2 teams would have woken up here in D.C. in the 30s. But by the time we've gotten to game time, it's eclipsed 60 degrees here in the nation's capital. 1-2 from Flynn. Off speed, rolled over to the third base side. They go after the lead runner. That's all that they'll get. Strittmatter runs well in the cleanup spot. Bacall going to grab Park at second base. Strittmatter replaces her over at first on the fielder's choice, and there's 2 gone now for Kozo. Happy Kozo popped out to shortstop to end the inning. It was one of those that go right behind the third baseman. And the shortstop coming over has a much better angle to see the ball and make the catch than a third baseman who has to go directly behind where they're set up. Flynn's really been nibbling the edges of the plate, and she gets another first pitch strike. Yesterday, or rather 2 days ago against St. John's, Hoyas left 5 runners on all game. That was, in fact, one of the bigger issues for Harvard in their last game, that 5-4 narrow victory over St. Mary's. It could have been a lot larger lead for the Crimson, but they left 10 runners on. They beat St. Mary's by 1, but they out-hit the Gales 11-4. Came away with a 5-4 win. That one's just off the inside edge. Counts 3 balls and a strike. And it's the Hoyas now who are struggling to bring home the runners that they've been able to put on. That one's out towards the shortstop, Muller. She'll take the easy route to second base, and the Hoyas will strand another. That's 5 through 3 innings, and we have played 3 scoreless in D.C. Top half of the fourth inning and heart of the order coming to the plate for the Crimson against Kayla Dunn, who has only faced 10 batters in the 3 innings that she has worked, 1 over the minimum. Fitzpatrick was at the plate when Georgetown was able to get Harvard to run into an out on the base paths to end the third. So the first pitch to Fitzpatrick as she restarts the at-bat is a strike. And it is 0-1 to the Harvard center fielder. Really good start to Dunn's day. Through 2 2/3 innings against the Johnnies last Saturday, gave up 1 earned run on 4 hits. Crucially, didn't walk a batter in that outing. Hasn't walked one in this outing either. She has given up 3 hits, but a 6-4-3 double play, and then the defense behind her has been nothing short of fantastic all day long. Fitzpatrick will take one low and outside. That'll get away. So she remains ahead in the count right now. First team All-Ivy League last year. Her 28 RBIs were top 10 in the conference. She is also trying to extend a 6-game on-base streak, and she's ahead here 3 balls and 1 strike. Top 20 in the conference in batting average. Her .319 mark last year was 17th in the Ivy League. Crimson a year ago went 14-7 in conference play. Fell to Princeton, as I said, in the Ivy League final. 3-1 is on the inside edge. Oh, Fitzpatrick nearly got hit with it. Instead, it's a strike. And Dunn has worked the count back full. More and more 2 and 3 ball counts for Dunn in the second, third innings. And here in the top of the fourth, this one will one-hop the wall. Fitzpatrick on her way to second base. She'll stop there. First extra base hit of the afternoon for Harvard. And they are set up here with nobody out and a runner in scoring position already for one of the most dangerous hitters in the country. Sophie Sun back up there for the Crimson, riding a 10-game hitting streak. And she just had an absolutely monster Saturday this past weekend. Weber State and St. Mary's, as I said, the 2 wins for Harvard, and Sun was a big reason why. She went 6 for 7 in the last 2 games. Struck out for the first time all season, though, back in the first inning to end a 1-2-3 first. Know that she would love to drive something to the outfield or at least push something to the right side and get Fitzpatrick to third with less than 2 outs. Squares to bunt, pulls back. Takes one downstairs. That is the faith that Jenny Roan has clearly in not only Sun but the rest of her lineup 1 through 9. You have one of the top contact and power hitters in the conference. With a runner at second base and nobody out, and you ask her to square around to bunt. Doesn't square this time, though. Takes one outside. It's 2-1. Her freshman season was enough to get herself in the top 5 in Harvard's single-season history in slugging percentage, home runs, and RBIs. All 3 of which led the Ivy League. That one fouled away, and it's 2-2. And as I said, that slugging percentage was the best from any freshman anywhere in the country. That freshman for Florida this year is probably going to win all sorts of Rookie of the Year honors in the SEC and nationally, but Sun was as good of a freshman as any in the country last year, especially from a power hitting perspective. 2 strikes on her here again, though. And the 2-2. Stuck in the hand of Dunn a little bit longer than she would have wanted, and the count's full. Walk doesn't hurt you too bad if you're done here, given the context. First base open. Really dangerous hitter. Not that Douglas behind her isn't. 3-2 fouled away. Over towards the Georgetown bullpen where there is life. There's a righty who is up and throwing right now for the Hoyas. We'll see how much patience Kayla Ross has in Dunn. Carla Ross, rather, I should say. 3-2 downstairs. And a good at-bat worked by Sun to get herself on base, and the Crimson have runners at first and second. And nobody out here in the top half of the fourth. Dunn faced the minimum in the first and the second. Crimson put 2 runners on at the corners in the third, and now runners at first and second and nobody out for this Harvard team. That is pretty deep 1 through 9 in the order. Douglas with 7 RBIs, herself in the cleanup spot. Top hitting team in the conference last year, led the Ivy League in batting average. Squaring to bunt, pulling one back is Douglas. Pitch was downstairs, and it's 1-0. Hit .313 as a team did Harvard a year ago. That was best in the Ivy League by 34 points. It was also top 25 in the nation. This bunt is foul, and it's 1-1. Quinn Salazar-Stewart on deck. Crimson led the Ivy League too in slugging percentage, on-base percentage, hits, runs scored. Just about every major offensive statistic. Not to mention leading the Ivy League in ERA last year. Big reason for that, though, was Anna Reed, who has since transferred to GW. And foul tapped, and it's 1-2. Reed last year led the Ivy League in ERA. She was the first player in the Ivy League in the past 2 years to have a sub-2 ERA. Crimson pitching staff took a big hit when she transferred down to DC. As I said, Crimson will take on Reed and the Revolutionaries tomorrow. We'll see if Reed's in the circle. It's downstairs, and it's 2-2. Oftentimes have seen GW roll out CC Smith in the circle for those midweek games, but see if Reed gets the chance to face her old team one day from now. Here and now, though, it's Kayla Dunn who's trying to solve Maya Douglas. Grounded out to third, back in the second. Hits one out towards Strittmatter again. She'll step on third base. Long throw, the second double play of the game already for the Georgetown Hoyas. This one led Strittmatter right to the bag to get Fitzpatrick on the force. And then the strong throw across the diamond to beat Douglas. And there's 2 gone now as Sun advances to second base. And Quinn Salazar-Stewart will hit with 2 outs. The defense has just really come to play in a big way for Georgetown all day. A couple of really nice athletic plays. The awareness has been top-notch as well. A couple of real heads-up moves by the Hoyas. But Dunn is behind the count here, 2-0. Call on deck, who hit into that first double play to end the second inning. That was a 6-4-3 that was just hit right hard at Fenton. And then Rebhan made a great turnover at second. This time Strittmatter took it herself to third. This one's hit right at Kozo, who makes a step to her left, reaches back across her body, and makes the catch on another hard-hit ball that Georgetown turns into an out. More great defense for Georgetown in the field, and we're halfway through this one in the nation's capital, looking for the game's first run. Just as Sammy Fenton did in the second inning, the shortstop for Georgetown will lead off the fourth as we welcome you back to the Washington Nationals Youth Academy. Ben Curtis here with you on the Georgetown Athletics YouTube channel. Fenton 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Riley Flynn back out there for inning number 4 of work in the circle. She has got 3 strikeouts in her 3 innings. And a first pitch strike to Fenton. 4 hits for either team. Hit by pitch conceded by Flynn back in the first inning. 1 walk for Dunn in that 4th inning, but other than that, both pitchers have really made the hitters earn it. Both teams have had opportunities with multiple runners on at the same time. Neither team has been able to push across the game's first run. One's fouled away, and it's ball and a strike to Fenton. Just the 4th strikeout in 44 at-bats for Fenton. 1 out of every 11's a ratio that if she can keep up all season long, I have to think Hoya's coaching staff will be pretty happy with that. 1-2 upstairs, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. This Harvard defense has not been tested the way that the Georgetown defense has. They've been really good as well, though. Fitzpatrick with that nice play on the long drive from Campos. 2-2 outside, and it's 3-2. Ball just hasn't left the infield too much. Turner's hit was on the infield. Pardini and Rebons were relatively slowly hit. Flynn's worked a lot of weak contact. Time is called now. There's a second softball on the field. Ayala, the right fielder, has to go toss it back over. I think there's a couple of kids who are playing over there on the third base side. That might have been where the extra softball came from. First base side, rather. Regardless, now the 3-2 to Fenton is in the air. That's to the first base side as well. Heads up to all those kids playing over there. Count stays right where it is at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Danny Koo, Holly Pardini, rest of the Hoyas due up here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 3-2 is just off the inside edge. And the first walk of the day issued by Riley Flynn. It's got to be a really good feeling for the Hoyas defensively as a whole unit, including Dunn in the circle, but Hoyas in totality, after giving up 11 runs in the first inning against St. John's, to post 4 straight scoreless frames. Georgetown had the lead going into the bottom half of the first inning in that one. They scored 1 in the top of the frame. Koo can't get the bunt down. It's fouled back to the screen. But then 11 runs for St. John's. And just an ugly first inning that included 3 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and a smattering of hits for the host St. John's Red Storm. Koo this time fouls it back again. Or rather, it got away. Oh, Koo's bat never touched it. And Salazar Stewart couldn't keep it in front of her. Mueller over at shortstop saying, hey, that one's got to be a foul ball. And now the umpires are going to come together and see what they see. This is a big call here. Either there's a runner in scoring position with nobody out, and a 1-1 count to Koo, where she could perhaps lay down another bunt and get Fenton to third with only 1 out. Other option is that Koo's behind 0-2, and Fenton is sent back to first base. And in a scoreless game, it's a big-time call. And they'll say that it never touched the bat of Danny Koo. It's a passed ball, and another runner in scoring position for the Hoyas. We'll see if Koo squares around again to try to push Fenton to third. That would allow for a productive out to bring her home. But that pass ball just did Koo's job for her. She is squaring around again. It's popped up in the air. Coming in is Call. She made the catch. Diving play by Call at third, and Priyanka Call answers the Hoya defense with an excellent play of her own. And after a bit of controversy as to whether or not Koo got the bunt down to advance Fenton to second, kind of evens out in the end with the 1 out and the runner out at second base anyways. So here's Pardini. Gets into this one. Shallow center field. Fitzpatrick has the angle, and she dropped it. Went right off with the heel of her glove. Talk about the wind that's been swirling all day. Talk about the defense that's been locked in all day. And the first defensive blemish for either team. comes from the usually sure-handed Savannah Fitzpatrick. And there's 2 more aboard here for the Hoyas and another meeting at the circle. An E8 on a little bloop into shallow center field. Muller and Payne were not going to get there. Fitzpatrick already had a great catch in right center field to run down a compost ball that was hit hard. This time she had to come in on it and might have just overran it a little bit as it deflected right off the heel of her glove. And instead of 2 outs and a runner at second base, Hoyas have 2 on and only 1 out for Brooke Rebon, who singled with 2 outs back in the second inning. And then the top of the order and the ever-dangerous Claire Turner on deck. This ball sprayed foul to the first base side. No balls and a strike to Rebon. That is a unusual play in this ball game with how good the defense for the Hoyas and the Crimson have both been. This ball's out towards left field. It'll get towards the Crimson bullpen where Ryan Grace has been getting loose. See if the junior from Washington State comes into this game anytime soon. Could also just be getting her work in preparation of tomorrow's game against GW. I think that'll be an even earlier start. I think that one's at noon. 0-2. Low and away. A ball and 2 strikes now. Flynn could really use a strikeout here. Rebon will be trying to hit one to the right side or right back up the middle. Instead, she pulls one back over towards the third base side foul. And we'll do it all over again. Flynn coming into play today with that 2.08 ERA, posting 3 straight innings scoreless. Hoyas left 5 runners on in those 3 innings. More chances to score here in the 4th. Expanding the strike zone, and it's 2-2. Rebon, the sophomore from Miami. The 2023 Miami Herald Spring Athlete of the Year. Was 3-time first team All-Dade County before getting to DC. 2-2 breaking ball from Flynn. Ran out of enthusiasm on its way to home plate. And the count is full. Don't expect the runners to be on the move here. Fenton does run really well out at second base. She's not going. This ball's flared into shallow right. Payne backtracking, making the catch. That's a tougher catch than it looks for Payne having to backpedal like that. With the wind continuing to swirl. And now blowing the other way out towards right. And there's 2 gone, and that might be the last action of the day for Flynn. Talked about Ryan Grace warming up in the bullpen for the Crimson, and it looks like she is going to check on into this game. Softball hasn't been asked away from Riley Flynn just yet, but Grace has left the bullpen. They're all talking in the circle right now about it. And we'll see if Riley Flynn does walk off the field. She does. There is a new reliever. It's actually not going to be Grace. It's going to be Nicolette Hunter. We'll let her warm up, tell you all about her when we come back. 2 on and 2 out for the Hoyas. Nicolette Hunter is a sophomore from Camarillo, California. 4.34 ERA. Honorable mention All Ivy League last year. Might have been a bit hard done by that. She was second in the conference in ERA, but just an honorable mention nominee in the All-Conference. Just 76 innings of work last year, a little bit smaller than some of her competitors. Hence the slight downgrade in the all-conference honors, but great freshman year for the Californian. Solid sophomore year for her, too. And a first pitch strike, and it's 0-1. Flynn's day is not done. She is responsible for both of the runners on first and second base with 2 outs. It's Fenton at second, Pardini at first, albeit it would be an unearned run the rest of the way from here. Owens downstairs, and it's 1-1. Last time out for Hunter, she threw 7 innings against St. Mary's in that big 5-4 win. Won a complete game, giving up 3 earned runs, 1 more unearned on 4 hits. She didn't walk a batter. She struck out 3. 2 balls and a strike now from Hunter. It was the first time all year she's thrown a complete game. First time all year she's thrown 5 or more innings. Now will be tasked with getting through this 4th inning and probably much more than that, especially with another game tomorrow, assuming that the Crimson will want to use Flynn and then Hunter the rest of the way. 2-2 to Claire Turner, who is 1 for 2 today. Another RBI opportunity for Turner. And she swings and misses, and Nicolette Hunter comes on into this game and gets Turner to strike out swinging and get the Crimson out of the jam. Hoyas have left 7 on through 4, but they've been excellent on the other side of the ball too. We head to the 5th, still looking for the first run of the day here in D.C. Six, 7, 8 due up for the Crimson. Call Payne Muller against Dunn, who is back out there for inning number 5. Only 1 strikeout so far for Dunn. She's allowed the 4 hits. Handful of traffic around the base paths in the last 2 innings especially. But Dunn's been able to work out of it, as have her counterparts on the other side. And still looking for the first run of this Tuesday afternoon. Ben Curtis here with you from our nation's capital for the Hoyas home opener. 0-1 to call. Pops it up in the infield. The shortstop, Fenton, will give way to the second baseman, Brooke Rebon, who makes the catch for the first out of the 5th. That combination up the middle have been so good all season long. Rebhan had that really nice turn back in the 2nd inning to complete the double play. First pitch to Payne, a little bit outside, and it's 1-0. Payne singled back in the 3rd inning. She was the one who was caught trying to head home back in that 3rd frame when Rebhan came home with the throw that went down to second base. Cut it off before it got to the bag. Threw it back home, and Payne was out. Closest the Crimson have come to scoring today. That ball's hit sharply and out of the reach of both Kozo and Rebhan into right field. And a 1-out knock for Payne. She's 2 for 2 today. Set up a 1-on, 1-out situation for Alexa Muller. Muller popped out back in the 3rd inning. So Crimson have put a runner on base in every inning besides the 1st. Still nothing to show for it, though. Life continues in the Hoya bullpen as well. We'll see how much patience Hoya's staff has for Dunn if she continues more traffic on the base paths, but she's gotten out of all the jams she's got herself into so far. And throws a first pitch strike to Muller. Crimson looking to push their winning streak to 5. It would be the longest winning streak for them since just about this same time last year, end of February, start of March of 2024. Beat Iowa once, Tennessee Tech and Winthrop each twice to win 5 games in a row. Haven't won 6 straight since the end of 2023. End of the regular season and into a conference tournament that Harvard won. Got to the NCAA tournament. Got placed in the Fayetteville Regional with number 11 Arkansas as the host. Lost to the Razorbacks, lost to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and the Crimson season was done. But that's the last Ivy League championship for Harvard 2 years ago. That one hit the other way and foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still yet to get into Ivy League play. Assuming they have the kind of season that you expect them to, they're going to surpass 400 program Ivy League wins. They're at 395 right now. That one's on the outside edge, and it's 3-2, and they'll get into Ivy League play this weekend. And fans of the Ivy League will not have to wait long for the rematch of the championship game of the tournament last year. Harvard starts out at Princeton. That ball's hit back up the middle. Rebhand with a diving play to keep it alive, but couldn't flip it to Fenton with the glove. It'll be an infield hit. Credit Payne, who got a good jump on that to force the issue and speed Rebhand up. And there's 2 on with nobody out here in the 5th for Harvard. There'll be 2 on Saturday against the Tigers and 1 on Sunday. And as I said, it was Princeton who beat Harvard in the championship final last year and denied the Crimson their 2nd consecutive trip to the NCAA tournament. Ayala will bat here with 2 on and 1 out. Hit the ball hard at Koo, who made a nice sliding catch back in the 3rd. Good stop from Pardini to keep the runners where they are. Payne was about halfway down the base path before she retreated back to the second base bag. Wind picking up again. And again, it's blowing in now from left. And there'll be a visit at the circle. We'll see if Kayla Dunn will stay in the ball game. These mid-at-bat pitching changes are a little bit more common in the college softball game. But at the moment, it just appears to be a conversation as the Crimson have more life here offensively in the top half of the 5th, and Dunn's going to remain in the contest. Would imagine that the patience is running thin, though, for the Hoyas in a tight, scoreless game with the top of the order coming up next. Dunn has pitched really admirably, but some big hitters due up next in Solosi and Fitzpatrick and Son after them. This ball hit out towards second base. Rebhand caught it, topped on the bag, and got the out. Oh, the pop out led Rebhand right to the second base bag. Payne didn't get back over in time. And on her way out to have a conversation is the Harvard head coach, Jenny Roan. The umpires are going to come together, so we'll stick with you until they make their final decision. Rebhand caught the pop out, and it just led her right to the second base bag, where she stepped on the base, and Payne hadn't tagged up. And it looks like the inning is going to go. They're still having a conversation. But Harvard's starting to run back out there defensively, so we'll call the inning over. Another great heads-up play defensively by Brooke Rebhand and this Hoya defense. And we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, still scoreless between the Crimson and the Hoyas. Dangerous part of the Hoya order coming to bat as we return to the bottom half of inning number 5 here in Washington, D.C. 0-0 between the Crimson and the Hoyas, two teams that have been moving in opposite directions as of late, in case you're just joining us. Harvard 9-4, winners of their last 4. Georgetown 8-11, dropped their past 8, but it is there for the taking for both teams. And the first pitch to Gabby Park is low and away, and it's 1-0 to the Hoya right fielder. Really good day for Park at the plate. Got a bunt down back of the first to advance Claire Turner to second. Then had a leadoff single back in the third. He's played a really solid right field as well defensively. Taps that one to the right side. Douglas has to hurry over to the first base bag, and she does. One away here for Campos, and that's an important first out for Harvard, just as they want to face Campos with nobody on base. So too, as we talked about, is Georgetown against the Harvard number 3 hitter, Sophie Sun. And it will be empty base paths for Campos. First pitch to Naya Campos is off the outside edge. 1 ball and no strike to the DH, designated player today, I should say. Strip Matter still awaiting on deck. Campos taps it to Douglas. She will meet Campos right there at the first baseline and tag her out. So back-to-back 3 unassisted in your scorebook. And there's 2 outs here for Strip Matter. Good chance for a 1-2-3 inning for Nicolette Hunter. Strip Matter 0 for 1 today with a strikeout and a fielder's choice. Georgetown has put at least a base runner on in every inning so far. Riley Flynn did not get a 1-2-3 inning in her 3 2/3. Downstairs, and it's 2-0. So Flynn's day is now officially in the books. Pretty solid outing for her to work around all that traffic and make sure that she's kept her offense in it. 2-0 to Strip Matter, tapped foul. 2 balls and a strike. Kozo due up after her. And it has really been the bottom part of the order that has struggled offensively for Georgetown so far this year. Each of the top 5, making each of the top 6 hitting above 300, and then the pretty steep drop-off offensively for Koo, Pardini, and Rebhan. 3 straight underclassmen, 7, 8, and 9. So it is put a bit more pressure on the top of the order to produce the runs. We've already seen the defense, though, that all 3 of those players, Koo, Pardini, and Rebhan, have been irreplaceable in the lineup. Just, they'd love to get the bats going more. Strip Matter fouls 1 away, and we stay right where it is at 2-2. And so because of that, Koo hitting 214, Rebhan hitting 214, Pardini below 200. For Hunter, she's thinking if she can get through Strip Matter here, that'll make the complexion of the 6th and 7th look a lot better. 2-2 over towards third. Call with the short hop. Was it a foul ball? Yes, it was. Strip Matter stopped running. And third base umpire was looking right down the line. So was the home plate umpire. I think it was Will Yao at home who ended up making that foul call. So we do the 2-2 all over again. Hunter rocks and fires, tried to pick out that outside corner, and she got it. Second strikeout since coming on into this game, and for the first time all afternoon, the Crimson have worked a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the 6th. Harvard looking to take the lead for the first time when we come back to D.C. Top of the order due up for Harvard here in the top half of inning number 6 after the excellent play by Rebhan defensively to get the third double play already for Georgetown today. They had one in the second on a 6-4-3, then a 5-3 double play in the fourth, and the pop out to the second baseman double play in the fifth. So Losi comes right back and slaps one the other way. And Audrey Solasi leads off the Harvard sixth with a base knock. 3 of the 6 innings now, Harvard has put the leadoff batter aboard, and that's an important one in this kind of situation for the top part of the Harvard order. And now Fitzpatrick, who has hit the ball hard twice today, will square to bunt. Drops it down. They go to second base. Not in time. Strittmatter tried to get the lead runner on a bunt that went right to her, knowing that Sun was coming up next. And the Hoyas don't get any outs. So Sophie Sun is going to get the chance to hit with 2 on and nobody out. So far today, she's been relatively neutralized. Credit Solasi with a great jump off of the pitch. Full faith that Fitzpatrick was going to get the bunt down. She was off and going and just beat that out on a good throw from Strittmatter, but a play that was just a hair too slow to develop. Sun has walked and struck out so far today. And Dunn takes, or rather delivers, the first pitch that Sun takes. Outside, it's 1-0. Sophie Sun has hit safely in 10 straight games. This might be her last at-bat of the contest, the way that this one has been going. And there isn't really all that many places to put her. So Dunn tries to attack the zone. Missed it a little bit high. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. The Austin, Texas native in the biggest spot of the game that has had more than its fair share of scoring chances for both teams. Goes after the 2-0, hits it foul, and it'll land on the roof of the adjacent building, and it's 2-1. Doesn't get too much easier. Douglas, Salazar, Stewart call afterwards, but this is really the at-bat of the game so far. Scoreless game, top of the 6th. 2 runners on, nobody out. Time is called. Did they get the runner at second base? Fitzpatrick's not out there. They initially called her safe. Oh, apologies. There's one. The scoreboard still is showing 0 outs. 2-2 is low and away. That was the third pitch. That was the third ball. Advancing up to first base was Sun, and that's going to be a Fitzpatrick stolen base at second base. That's a 3-2 count that Fitzpatrick went to second base on, and there's nothing else that can call there but a stolen base. Because she can advance anyways on any pitch she wants. Umpires are going to come together and have a conversation. That was the third ball of the at-bat. We got a lot to sort out here. They did call Solasi out after calling her safe and then never really made another out signal. But she was called out. But yeah, you have to give Fitzpatrick second base in that call because she can advance up to second base anytime she wants. Georgetown, if they could have tagged her out in that spot. But that is the third stolen base of the year for Fitzpatrick and probably the strangest one she'll have all year. So the 3-2 is upstairs, and after all this weirdness, there will be runners at first and second base, and 1 out. Well, we apologize about that out safe situation over at second base. They're still showing 0 outs on the scoreboard here at the Washington Nationals Youth Academy, but there is 1 out. And there's runners at first and second, and we'll see if Kayla Dunn's day is done. That's a toughie. But regardless, there'll be a good scoring chance for Harvard. Live stats still waiting to be updated and confirmed exactly what's the situation with that play over at second base. On the bunt from Fitzpatrick, Strittmatter picked it up, threw over to second base. The second base umpire called Solacey safe. And then umpires came together and, unbeknownst to all of us, I guess, overturned that initial call. So Fitzpatrick at second, Sun at first. Live stats still say nobody out on our official statistics. But there's one out from context clues. And 2 runners on for Maya Douglas. She squares to bunt, hits it foul. Well, I don't know if the Crimson know how many outs there are either, because that's not a usual situation to bunt with 1 out. Because then that sets up a situation for Quinn Salazar-Stewart, who is a good hitter, but all of a sudden then done, you get that batter out and you're out of the inning. Now swinging away is Douglas, hitting one foul and wide of the Georgetown bullpen, and it's 0-2. So done ahead here of Maya Douglas, who grounded into the 5-3 double play back in the 4th. This one's back up the middle off of Dunn's glove. Coming in is Fenton. She won't have a play. Ball hitting off of Dunn's glove might have saved a run to hold Fitzpatrick over at third. Would be shocked if it wasn't an infield hit. It's Quinn Salazar-Stewart's spot in the order, but I don't know if she's going to get the chance to hit. Lineup card is out for Jenny Roan. There's going to be a new runner over at first base to replace Douglas. It's going to be Julia Mizo, who's going to come on in to run, the freshman from Honolulu. There'll be a new runner at second base, too. Megan Davies is going to come on for the designated player. Oh, it's Fitzpatrick, who is at second base. The first pitch is in and sails way upstairs and gets away from the catcher Pardini, and the first run will score. After tremendous defense all day long by Georgetown, it's a passed ball wild pitch. I would imagine it's probably a wild pitch instead of the pass ball. That will allow the Crimson to score the first run of the day. And the count is now 2-0. So big opportunity for the Crimson to put up a big inning here. 2 balls and a strike. To Douglas here. Think that the end result of that deal over at second base on the bunt, that might have hit Fitzpatrick in the box, and so it would have been a foul ball and a strike instead of an out. Count moves to 3 balls and a strike now on Douglas. But regardless of what the scoring decision was, Crimson have the lead and a chance for a crooked number here against Dunn. The 3-1, scoring to bunt, drops it down, foul ball, back behind the plate. Everyone will retreat to their respective bags. Apologies for the confusion here in the top half of the 6th inning. Trying to get all the information for you from our live statistician as we can. But the big number you need to know is 1. That's how many Harvard has. This ball's up in the air. Rebhan has a beat on it, and that's as good as a strikeout for Dunn. And so here is Quinn Salazar-Stewart. There was no pinch hitter, just the pinch runners. That was why Jenny Roan had the lineup card out. So for Dunn, an opportunity to get through this 6th inning with just the 1 run allowed would be huge. There's 1 gone here now in the top half of the 6th. We can confirm everything for you here. 2 runners on, 1 out. The runner who scored was initially Fitzpatrick's, who was then pinch run for. 1-0 hit towards the right side. Rebhan's only plays at first base. Now the throw home comes. It's late, and it's an RBI sacrifice ground out. It's 2-0 Harvard. Rebhan got the sure out over at first base, but couldn't quite check the runner back from third enough. And so Priyanka Kaul will try to keep the line moving for Harvard, who have broken the seal of this game and have doubled up their lead as well. Dunn wasn't quite comfortable with the pitch selection, so she calls time. In the bottom half of the 6th inning, it'll be 5, 6, 7 due up as this ball hit out towards shortstop. Fenton with a good throw across the diamond to end the inning. But not before the Crimsons score twice. Harvard takes a 2-0 lead as we head to the bottom half of inning number 6 here in D.C. On our way to the bottom half of the 6th inning. In the top half of the 6th, that bunt controversy with Fitzpatrick, she was out of the box at the time of the bunt, so everyone had to be called back, and that's why we were a little bit turned around with the number of outs and the placement of the base runners. But what matters most as we kind of turn the page here to the bottom half of the 6th inning, Harvard's up 2-0. They've got 8 hits. Hoyas have 4, and Nicolette Hunter has a lead to protect for the first time today. And she'll face Abby Kozo, Sammy Fenton, and Danny Koo. At least those are the 3 due up for Georgetown. With the Crimson looking to push this win streak to 5. That one's off the plate, and it's 2-0. We are set up a little bit away from the official statistician and scorers of this game. We're trying to get all the explanations to you in real time. But regardless, Crimson up 2-0. Looking to move to their 10th win of the season. And the count moves to 2 balls and a strike. Kozo's 0 for 2 today. Ground out and a pop out in the 3rd and the 1st inning. In fact, nobody outside of the top 2 in the order, Turner and Park, have base hits today. Rebhan does have the 1 knock. Pardini does in the bottom of the order. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all without a hit today for Georgetown. Boys would love to change that here and now. 3-1. Third base side heads up in the Crimson dugout. Got that cage protecting all the players who are in the dugout, but there's a couple of players and coaches who've kind of spilled out beyond it, and they had to duck on out of the way of it. So the count is full on Kozo. 3-2 from Hunter. Rolled over on it. Douglas will take it herself to the bag. She's been busy defensively today. That's the third out of the last 4 batters. That has been scored 3 unassisted. Douglas has been pretty sure-handed there defensively. So here's Fenton, 0 for 1 today with a walk back in the 4th. And the former Ivy Leaguer transfer from Penn. Try to kickstart a rally here against her old Ivy League rivals. Takes the first pitch strike, and it's 0-1. Hunter, since coming into the game, has been dynamite. Sat down all 5 batters that she's faced. Including 2 strikeouts, one of Claire Turner to end the 4th inning, one of Strip Matter to finish off the 5th. But that time Fenton got hit by a pitch, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate in the form of Danny Koo. Second hit by pitch that the Crimson pitchers have had. Flynn hit Campos a little bit higher up back in the 1st inning. So Koo struck out in the 2nd. One of 3 strikeouts that Riley Flynn had after 15 in her 2 outings the last weekend. That went off the plate to Koo, and it's 1-0. They get Pardini and Rebhan, who have been swinging the bat well today after Koo. And then if the inning gets that far, Turner. Something else this does is ensure that Turner will bat in the 7th inning. Assuming Fenton does not, or rather, assuming that Fenton does not run herself into an out here on the base paths. And Koo's ahead in the count here, 2-0. Not a good time for Hunter to lose command of the zone a little bit. She gets right back into it, though, with a swinging strike, and it's 2-1. Much better location on the inside part of the plate against Koo. Fenton has good speed over at the shortstop position. That one on the inside edge as well. And it is 2-2. But despite her good base running speed, she has not yet stolen a bag this year in her Georgetown career. See if she's on the move, but the Hoyas need 2. Ball tapped foul. Good at bat here between Koo and Hunter. It's always a difficult calculus because in total, Fenton's run really only matters in the context of 1 more in this game. But it's a little bit of a different situation. In the 7th inning in this spot, you would never see a runner at first base try to steal. But if you can get one back here in the 6th, still have a little bit of runway left in the 7th, that is a foul ball. It hit Koo in the batter's box. So the risk-reward calculus is a little bit different for trying to steal a base. Like I said, in the 7th, if you only score 1 in this inning, that doesn't do you any good at all. 1 here in the 6th, though, does get you closer with another frame left. Fenton's not running. That ball's hit out towards shortstop. They get the lead runner, and that's it. Fielder's choice as Koo replaces Fenton over at first. And there is 2 outs now for Holly Pardini. Have seen 1-6-4-3 double play in this contest. It was off the bat of Priyanka Kaul for Harvard. It was turned well by Fenton and Rebhan, but that ball was hit a lot harder than the one off the bat of Koo just now. First pitch to Pardini, swung right over it. It's 0-1. Double play to be turned like that in softball. You have to have a ball hit really hard and right at somebody. It was right at Muller, but was far too slow. As soon as it takes that 2nd bounce, it's going to be a lot tougher. Back pick over towards first. Koo's back in there safely. Pardini's reached twice today. The single back of the 2nd, and then reached on the lone error of the day. Ball that just hit right off the heel of Fitzpatrick's glove in center, who has re-entered the game, by the way. Ball is swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. Just like that, Crimson one pitch away from getting out of the jam. That would leave Rebhan Turner Park for the 7th. Out toward the left side, there's Call across the diamond in time for a big third out of the 6th. After Harvard plates 2 in the top half of the inning, they hold the Hoyas without a run in the bottom. We head to the final frame of regulation. It's Harvard 2, Georgetown 0 in D.C. Top half of the 7th inning, and Georgetown throws a new pitcher out there. Kayla Dunn's day is done, and it'll be Wismar for the 7th, the senior from Tennessee, with a ERA that sits right at 7 right now. After a couple of up and down past outings. The last one that she had against St. John's was up. 3 1/3 innings, 1 earned run on 1 hit. She struck out 5. In that 12-2 loss. She came in for the back half of that game and pitched really admirably after the Hoyas struggled early on. First pitch is a strike to Finley Payne, who has reached twice today with a pair of singles. Fouls that one right back to the screen, and it's 0-2. Couple of tough outings, though, against Charleston Southern, Drexel, and an earlier game against St. John's. Kind of ballooned that ERA this early on in the season through just 18 innings. 1 or 2 bad outings will make that ERA really inflated. This ball's out to shallow left field. Making the catch is Fenton, going back on the softball. And there's 1 away. Kind of a different role for Wismar for this Georgetown team. Only 4 starts this year. This is her 7th appearance out of the bullpen. She hasn't thrown 5 or more innings all season long. Last year threw 51 1/3 innings over the course of the season. First pitch to Muller is on the outside edge for a strike. Last year had 5 outings of 4+ innings. This year a little bit more of a short innings worker. That one fouled away. It's 0-2. All but 1 outing has been fewer than 4 innings. And all but just 18 innings and the 3rd now. Trying to make it 2/3 as she's ahead, 0-2 on Muller. 1 for 2 today is the shortstop Muller. Single back in the 5th. 8 of the 9, make it 7 of the 9 Crimson hitters have found a way to get themselves on base. Only Call and Ayala have not. The third baseman and the right fielder, who've both been busy today defensively, though. Seems like just about everybody in the starting lineup has made a nice play at some point in this game in the field. 1-2 to Muller. Back to the screen, staying alive. Haven't had too many give up at-bats in this game either. A lot of 2-strike foul balls from both teams. Really disciplined hitters who are going to make the pitchers groove one back over the middle of the plate. This one is a little bit more center cut, but Fenton ranging over well to her left. She's got both putouts in this top half of the 7th. It'll be up to Ayala. Have one more chance to get herself on base in this contest. Ayala lined out to left field and then popped out into that double play that ended the 5th. Ball is just off the plate and it's 1-0. Jenny Roan trying to guide this Harvard team to a 5-game win streak and get them to 10-4 before their final non-conference tune-up tomorrow. And then that Princeton series that just jumps you right into the deep end of Ivy League play. Princeton picked to finish number 1 in the conference. Harvard picked to finish number 2. And the way the schedule works out, they will face off right off the bat. 3rd in the conference, at least in the preseason poll, is Yale. Of course, anytime Harvard and Yale get together, no matter the sport, intrigue mounts, but especially in softball where they're 2 of the better teams in the conference. 4-pitch walk to Ayala. And this top half of the 7th inning will continue. Flip the lineup card around, and Solacey will get to bat for the 4th time today. She has reached base twice with a pair of singles after starting out the game by flying out to right field. This Georgetown team trying to snap an extended losing streak at a pinch runner here over at first base. Haley Nooner is going to come on into the contest to run for Ayala. That's Marley Nielsen, 9, not 91, who's going to come on in to run. Apologies. The freshman from Miami, Florida, and St. Brendan High School will be the new runner. This Hoya team that's 0-6 in Big East play, looking to right the ship before getting back to work in conference play. They'll be back here this weekend to take on a Villanova team that was picked in the Big East preseason poll to win the conference. Defending conference champions beat Creighton in the Big East championship final back in 2024, nearly got out of the regional. The 1 seed was out of that regional in Fayetteville, but Arizona just got past the Wildcats to get to the Super Regionals. That's going to be a difficult team to beat all season long again in the conference. 1-1 is slapped foul. It's 1-2. Hoya is going to have an answer for Ava Franz, who has been one of the top players in the conference just about year in and year out. It's been a really good start to the season, too, for Kelsey White. Brooklyn Ostrowski's been hitting the ball better as of late. It is just relentless for that Villanova offense as that one gets away from the catcher Pardini. The count moves to 2-2. Kat Gallant's been excellent in the circle, too. Imagine that's who Villanova will probably roll out for game number 1 on Friday. Hoya's going to have to be ready for that one. 2-2. Tapped foul will do it again. Busy day around the Big East. A lot of teams in action. St. John's, who just swept the Hoyas, up 9-3 on Manhattan. Seton Hall leading Stony Brook in another New York rivalry, 6-3. A lot of late games today in the Big East. That one's off the plate, and it's 3-2. Ball State Butler's at 4 o'clock Eastern. Boston College will take on Providence at 4 o'clock in Rhode Island. DePaul with a local rivalry against University of Illinois Chicago at Flames Field at 5. 3-2 over towards the third base side. Strittmatter doesn't have a play on it. Emily Strittmatter has made a couple of great defensive plays all day, but could not complete that one. It'll be a tough scoring decision. But regardless, there will be runners at the corners for the Crimson. And it's going to be an E5. That's a tough error against Strittmatter, who really had to hurry. But it's one that, if you ask her, she will expect to make. Hoyas reset with a meeting at the circle. Only other Ivy League game going on right now actually just went final. The aforementioned Yale Bulldogs fell to the Boston Terriers, 8-2. BU victors in that one. They're starting game 2 of that doubleheader at BU softball field, and BU already has a 2-0 lead. And then at 6 o'clock, Columbia is all the way across the country to take on Sacramento State. Savannah Fitzpatrick takes the first pitch outside. It's 1-0. Prep for this game didn't quite extend that far, but would be fascinating to know how many times across all sports Columbia and Sacramento State have played a game. Can't be that many. That one's fouled back to the screen, and it's 1-1. Also fun to note that apparently Sacramento's home field is called Shea Stadium. Not quite the most famous of Shea Stadiums. 1-1 is just off the plate. It's 2 balls and a strike. In fact, the most famous Shea Stadium would be right in Columbia's backyard. Former home of the New York Mets, of course, in Queens. Columbia based in Manhattan. Two-one here to Fitzpatrick. You know, Suns in the on-deck circle. With all the power that she possesses. Wismar would love to end the inning right here. Keep this Harvard lead at 2 heading to the bottom half of the 7th. Popped foul third base side, and she is a strike away from doing just that. Really good speed on the base paths, though. Nielsen and Solacey at third and first, respectively. And the 2-2. Out towards shortstop, leaping catch by Fenton. The former Ivy Leaguer takes away another hit from the Crimson and gets the Hoyas back into the dugout. It'll be 9-1-2 due up for Georgetown. They need 2 to tie, 3 to walk it off in D.C. Brooke Rebhan, Claire Turner, Gabby Park due up for Georgetown, needing 2 runs to tie up this ball game. Nicolette Hunter back out there to try to shut the door and give Harvard their 10th win of 2025. It is worth noting, if a runner were to get on base, that would potentially mean that Naya Campos could come to plate representing the tying run. One of the top power hitters in the conference, who already has 5 home runs this season. And Strip Matter right behind her, if the game should get that far, has 5 home runs too. But first, the Hoyas need base runners. 1-0 to Rebhan. Squares to bunt, trying to bunt herself aboard. Instead takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Single and a pop out for Rebhan today. One from Hunter. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Harvard is used to playing these close games. As we said, just the 1-run victory against St. Mary's last time out. That one swung on and missed. And the count moves to 2-2. Pretty close game against Weber State. That was a 2-run victory. Beat St. Joe's 5-4 at the Mizuno Showdown. That one skips away and the count is full. Beat Georgia Southern 5-4 in 8 innings. Really only 1 or 2 losses by close margins for the Crimson on the docket so far this year. A 4-3 loss to Furman. 6-1 loss to Kent State was closer than the scoreline. That one is a ground out to Muller, and there's 1 away. So the top of the order comes to the plate for Georgetown for the 4th time. But there is 1 gone here in the bottom half of the final inning of regulation. Claire Turner is 1 for 3. The one hit a ground ball to shortstop that she just legged out for an infield single. One of the speediest players in the Big East. Needs a base knock here for the Hoyas. First pitch is inside. It's 1-0. As we were talking about in the 6th inning, here in this 7th frame, if you get a runner on first base, you really wouldn't expect them to try to steal second because they would have to come around and score anyway here in this inning. 2 balls and no strikes, though. But even so, the speed on the base paths of somebody like Turner would put the pressure on the defense to have to speed everything up an extra click or 2. 2-0. In there for a strike, and it's 2-1. Well, it's just been a great game of college softball. Defense has been fantastic all day. An error for each team, but that doesn't really show how good the defense has been. Seen some really quality offensive talent. And the pitching, obviously, in a 2-0 game has been even ahead of some of the top hitters in the respective conferences, the Ivy League and the Big East. And Harvard 2 outs away from getting through what has been a tough, tough battle. 2-2. And Turner not going down without a fight either. She stays alive too. Count remains right where it is at 2-2. Park due up next. And then the big hitters Campos and Strip Matter if the game gets there. Two again. Full count on Turner. Hoyas started the season 8-3, in danger of dropping to 8-12 before returning to Big East play against the conference favorites. The payoff. Another foul ball worked by Turner. Seeing a lot of pitches here against the reliever Hunter. A sophomore with an opportunity to win it for the Crimson. But Turner with an opportunity to bring the tying run to the plate. The 3-2 is inside and a 1-out walk on what is one of the best at-bats of the day, worked by Claire Turner. So Gabby Park will bat with 1 on and 1 out. She has squared around to show bunt a couple of times. But this, a situation where you expect her to probably swing away, as there'll be a visit at the circle of all the infielders for the Crimson. 3 outfielders will come together and converge as well. It's just a conversation you have to imagine about keeping your composure in a tight game. Maybe a little bit of scouting report on Park and Campos as well, both of whom Hunter sat down the first time that she faced him in inning number 5. Crimson outfield still dancing away, even without any music playing here at Washington Nationals Youth Academy. That's what a 4-game win streak and 5 games over 500 will do for a team. And they're on the precipice of improving on that mark. But Georgetown has not rolled over easily. Park 1 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt. Lone hit came to lead off the third. She was cut down on a fielder's choice. Hoyas have left more than their fair share runners on base today. And if they come up short in this one, the solution next game will be clear. Just the situational hitting needing to improve from a Georgetown perspective, but they've still got runway left in this game to make it right. Ball and a strike to Park. Just below the knees. Shrug of the shoulders from Savannah Fitzpatrick in center field, saying, where did that one miss? But it is 2 balls and a strike to Park. And the pressure to throw strikes in this at-bat mounts with the player on deck in Campos. Out towards the third baseman, Call, who makes the catch on the line. Park hit it pretty sharply down that third base line. Call read it really well, reached back across and made the catch. And now here is the at-bat that we teased was a possibility coming into this bottom half of the 7th. Campos, the tying run, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, with Claire Turner on first base. First pitch to Naya Campos is on the outside edge. That is a picture-perfect pitch. Nothing that Campos can do with that one. The 0-1 from Hunter. Down towards the back foot of the Georgetown designated player. Campos has had so many big swings for Georgetown in the last couple of years in clutch moments. Would not be the first home run with Georgetown down to their final out that Campos has hit in blue and gray. This one's out to left center field. Making the catch is Solacey, and Harvard escapes Southeast DC with their 5th consecutive victory. A great battle on hand today at the Washington Nationals Youth Academy. But Campos hit it hard the other way, and Solacey ran it down in the gap. And the Crimson have their 10th win of 2025. Tremendous game of college softball. Defense was on display all the way, but 2 runs in the top half of the 6th inning was just enough for Harvard to get past Georgetown, who now falls to 8-12 on the season. Hoyas back in action on Friday against Villanova. We hope you join us here on Georgetown Athletics YouTube channel for that one. But until then, for our entire crew here in Southeastern DC, my name is Ben Curtis saying so long and see you real soon. Your final score here today, Harvard defeats Georgetown 2-0.